I have known Senator Clinton for a long time. I have always treated her with respect. She is a person that we have very different positions on a lot of issues and a philosophy, but I respect her. And I think that kind of language and that kind of treatment of Senator Clinton is unwarranted, uncalled for, and disgraceful.
That was Senator McCain from earlier today denouncing Father Pfleger's comments. Clinton Communication Director Howard Wolfson also fired off about the comments.
It's frankly why we were so disappointed to see the comments of Reverend Pfleger yesterday. We are all, I believe, attempting to bring the party together. And when you have that kind of divisive and hateful language, it is counterproductive to those efforts. And we were disappointed last night when I was first asked about it, and we remain disappointed that Senator Obama didn't specifically reject Father Pfleger's despicable comments about Senator Clinton.
We continue now with Hugh Hewitt, Lawrence Kiat, and Lynn Sweet. Lawrence, we've been friends a long time. Would you be friends with and go to a church for 20 years of Reverend Wright? Would you go to a church of Father Pfleger's? Would you go to a church that honors a Lifetime Achievement Award with Louis Farrakhan, a guy that, as we showed earlier, says he's my brother and that we're friends and he's a lover of truth and all this stuff? Would you be friends? Would you go to those, have those associations? Would you associate with the guy that bombed the Pentagon and was not sorry?
I would go to those churches, and I would be an active participant and a vigorous debater, because let me be very clear. When I listen to Ms. Sweet, who's a credible reporter who lives in Washington, who works in Chicago, describe the kind of programs that Father Pfleger is doing, then I would encourage Obama to continue to support them.
So it's okay. Hang on a second. No, Lord, we don't have a lot of time. So it's okay to be, hang on a second. It's okay in Lawrence Kiat's world to be friendly with, a guy that bombed our Pentagon, a guy that bombed our Capitol, is unrepentant. It's okay to be friends with a father that praises an anti-Semite and racist Louis Farrakhan. It's okay to be friends with Reverend Wright. All these things, none of this bothers you. None of this at all.
This is America, Sean.
It's America, but don't you have a moral obligation to stand against anti-Semitism?
Let me bring in you here.
I am not an anti-Semite.
Yeah.
I work with Jews.
You should stand against it.
I'm
not saying you are.
Young Jews and young blacks.
Why is it?
Don't label me like that.
Hold on. We have a very short segment here.
I did not label you that. I'm saying you do have an obligation to stand against it.
Right.
That's the point.
I'm glad you made that clear. Let me bring in Hugh Hewitt here. Why is it that we keep bringing up Reverend Wright night after night after night, and yet, or Ayers, or now this guy Pfleger, or Louis Farrakhan, and yet John Hagee, whose endorsement McCain sought, who also apologized, and McCain disowned him, the same thing that happened with some of these other preachers who said God was sent to hunt the Jews by the Bible, or rather that Hitler was sent to hunt the Jews by God. And he went on and said there was disobedience, rebellion of the Jews that led to their persecution. And he said Katrina happened in New Orleans because they were going to have a gay rally. Why doesn't that stick to John McCain? Explain that to me.
We're talking about Father Pfleger because
no, why doesn't that stick to McCain?
Sunday.
Tell me that.
We're talking about Father Pfleger because he spoke on Sunday. He endorsed Louis Farrakhan on Sunday. He's been a friend of Barack Obama's for 20 years.
We're still talking about Wright and Ayers, though. That happened a long time ago.
Next week we're going to be talking about Tony Rezko, because Tony Rezko is going to be convicted next week, and Tony Rezko bought Barack Obama's house by buying
but you're ignoring my question.
Next door. We're going to be talking about Tony Rezko next week because Tony Rezko owes $800,000 to
but you're
Las
changing
Vegas
the subject,
casinos,
and ignoring my
question. Money to Barack Obama. We're talking about Barack Obama's friends because they're his friends. Yeah, John McCain knows John Hagee, and he denounced the thing, but they're not his friends. These are Barack Obama's very close friends. He's
hey,
swum
Lynn
in this
Sweet.
pool for 20 years.
Lynn,
These
you
are
know,
his close
and none of them are running for president.
Right. Lynn, you know, that's a good point, Lawrence. Lynn, you know the Chicago scene. I bet you could probably come up with a number of people Barack Obama knows who are not radical lefties, who are probably moderates, who are probably conservative. And all we do is talk about, he knows, oh my heavens, he knows all these radical leftists. I'm sure Barack Obama's circle of friends and associates goes a lot broader than that, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and I know, even though I live here, I know so many of the people that Obama knows, but I understand why you want to talk about the people you do, and there is a point here to be made. Barack Obama is still at this level fairly new. His associates are new, who he's friends with are new to a lot of people. So in a sense, a discussion of who is around him is reasonable and fair game. Now, I think there's a point where sometimes the conversation gets overheated and overboard, but Father Pfleger is surprised me by what he did, because he's usually one of the most media-savvy clergymen around Chicago. And believe me, that city puts out a lot of very media-savvy clergy. So when he says something like he did that got him in a jam, hurt his friend Obama, I understand why people want to talk about it. They want to know who Obama is. There are reporters going to Chicago every day just to learn more about the man who may be president.
All right, we thank you all very much. Hugh, Lawrence, and Lynn, thank you all very much for being on our program tonight. And coming up, Obama's denounced Father Pfleger's criticisms of Hillary Clinton, but are his words enough? Frank Luntz will analyze the words